Hey, Eric Petras here. Welcome to video number 3 in a series, and these are 3 rules to successful guitar repair business. Rule number 1, you can go back and watch that video, but it contained a workbook, and that is know what customers want. So the very first rule you get into any sort of business is you got to know what your customers are going to ask you for. You know, it seems like a no-brainer, but a lot of people get into business without actually knowing what their customers want, and then they flounder or they fail or it's kind of like a if I build it, they will come complex. So they think that if they have a great idea and they start to do it and they invest in it, that people will just automatically come, and they don't. So what works a lot better is if you know what people want and what they're doing a Google search for and what they're looking for. So if you want to know what people want or what they're looking for for a guitar repair business, then go. I'm going to leave the workbook in the description under this video. You can go and download it. It's super free. You're welcome to it. So rule number 2 was you got to know what customers value. And again, any business, if you know what customers want and you know what they value, what they're looking for in their transaction or their service, and you nail it, if you get both of those things right, then you're going to have a happy customer. And if you have a happy customer, you're going to make more money, you're going to get more referrals, you're going to get more customers in general. So knowing these things is very, very beneficial to your business. Here's how I came up with this. So I looked through my books for months and months and months at all the services that I was doing. The reason I did that was to determine what I was doing all the time so I can make better decisions about my own business. I wanted to know how I was spending my time, and what I found was just eye-opening to me. So I put it all in a workbook. You can download it too. Go in the description. When it comes to knowing what customers value, I looked through reviews. So I looked for when customers like open their mouth or they start typing words of what they liked about a particular service. And I looked at my services and student services from around the country to look at what were the common things people were saying, what was important to them about their service. And I took it all, I added it all up, and I came up with 4 things that customers value, the main 4 things that customers value. I think there's like 9 or 10 that I came up with, but I give you the top 4 in that video, so you should go back there and watch it. And it's a short video too, it won't take you very long. I think that you'll learn a lot with it. So number 3, the third rule for a successful guitar repair business is you got to fulfill at a high level and collect 5-star reviews. Why the 5-star reviews is so that you'll have a better and better web presence, so that your future customers will see that you've done a good job for other people, and it's just a really good trust factor for people who are looking for a service. If you go out and you get more 5-star reviews than your closest competitor, trust me, you're going to be the go-to guy, and it will skyrocket your business because Google's going to start recommending you first on all the searches on their platform. But how are you going to do this? How are you going to fulfill at a really high level without years of experience or expensive luthier school? Because if you do a search for luthier school on the internet right now, you're going to come up with like a range from $3,000, $5,000 to $18,000. It's quite expensive, and there aren't many in America, so you could have to move out of state. But to get started doing the one thing that customers ask for the most, you really just need to learn setups, electric guitar setups. That's how I started. I added on service pretty quickly after I started with setups, but setups is where I think you should start. It's the number 1 service. Electric guitar setups have a 51% frequency, and setups in general have an 86% frequency. It's fast and easy, and there's lots of profit in a setup, so it's a good thing to focus on. It is a good service to provide. Here is the number 1 thing that customers value about their setups. They want their guitar playing better. Seems like a no-brainer, but they want their guitar playing better than whenever they brought it to you. So it needs to be fixed. They're going to bring it to you with a problem, and they want it to be playing better. A lot of times customers come to me and they say, man, I just had this guitar set up last week or 2 weeks ago or last month. It has not played right since. Whatever that guy did to it, it just hasn't felt right since. Can you fix it? And I get that all the time. So if you don't want to be that tech, you want to know exactly how to set up a guitar so that your customer is going to be happy with it. For most all electric guitars, I'm going to give you the measurements right here. This is what I do day in and day out. I set the neck relief to 0.010, and I use a feeler gauge to measure that. I set the action to 1.5 millimeter-ish because I dial it in at the end. I might raise the string a little bit or lower it a little bit. String height at the nut is between 0.5 millimeters and 0.7 millimeters. That's a really good spot, and your intonation should be okay on the first fret. Pickups are about 2 millimeters that's from the pole piece to the bottom of the string. That gives a really loud pickup. If you want it less loud, you can drop it down a little bit. You raise it up a little bit too, but getting any more than 2 millimeters is pretty high. I like to go 3 millimeters, like on my Strats and Tellies and stuff, so I even think 3 millimeters is fine. And for a bridge pickup, maybe even like 4 millimeters. You want the intonation done on the guitar, so you got to take note of that. You want to go through that process. They're going to be looking for that. You want the frets nicely polished, the fretboard oiled or clean. You want the guitar very, very clean, and you want not a lot of buzzes or fret out. The customer is probably going to ask you for low buzzes, for low action with no buzz and no fret out. That's what you want to give them, a guitar with very little buzz, no fret out. When the customer comes and picks up the guitar, this is important that you nail this. It needs to play better than whenever it came in. Frets need to be newly polished and slippery and clean. The fretboard oiled or the fretboard cleaned, like in a maple fretboard. The guitar in general very clean, and the guitar needs to be in tune. So if they're going to pick it up at 1 o'clock, you need to tune it at 12:50 and make sure it's perfectly in tune whenever they pick it up. The other two values that the customer is going to be looking for so that you can kind of fulfill at a very high level is, one, if you have a faster turnaround than your competitors. One of the main questions they're going to ask you is, what's your workload? How fast is your turnaround time? I say 1 day on most services, 1 or 2 days. And if you can beat your competitor, if they have a long wait, then that's going to be a good deal for you. You'll get more customers. And then reasonable rates, if you can be slightly lower than your direct competitor, then they'll appreciate that too. There may be some people out there who are doing some price comparisons before they make the phone call. If you're slightly lower, you'll get the phone call first. So those are the top 3 things that customers value. Number 1, you do a really great job with the guitar. 2, you have a fast turnaround, or fast as you can. And 3, that you're charging reasonable rates. So definitely, for a guitar repair business, if you're new starting out, make sure you've got that setup dialed in. And when the customer comes and picks up their guitar, make absolutely sure that it's doing a lot better than whenever it started. And in general, you want to give that guitar back super clean, in tune, perfectly intonated, and the customer will definitely love you for it. That is rule number 3 to a successful guitar repair business, is you got to really nail it. You got to make sure that the customer gets the service that they're asking for.